What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Enlightened Lamp podcast. I am here with Steve
Hello.
and Tim.
The cutest around.
Debatable. But we are going to be doing our reverse retro tier lists today. We've had enough time to kind of look over the jerseys, kind of let it sink in. Um, and also just the fact that the NHL is still severely gridlocked as there's not a lot of information coming out about next season. They're still planning for January, but who knows? A lot of players are still waiting for RFA contracts, and still have like guys like Mike Hoffman sitting in free agency. So it's kind of still gridlocked at the moment. So we decided to have some fun with it, get some content out for you guys, and we're gonna be talking about our reverse retro tier lists. So we all use the same tier list maker. I guess we'll run through each of our lists. We'll say where we have each jersey. I'll put them up on the screen, and then we'll start the debate about where each jersey ought to be. So there's 5 categories in these: beautiful, good, meh, bad, and awful. My thought process for when I was ranking the jerseys, I gave points to jerseys that were a little bit more creative, a little bit more outside the box, ingenuity, that kind of stuff. If the jerseys were either boring to me or too similar to a current jersey, that kind of made them a little bit lower on my list. Um, and some of the jerseys that were the meh category to me is still passing, but it's just like I'm kind of neutral towards it. So in the beautiful category, I have the Rangers, the Blackhawks, the Avalanche, the Kings, and the Hurricanes. Of course, the Avs and the Hurricanes are representing the Nordiques and the Whalers, respectively. In my good category, I had the Blues, the Senators, the Penguins, the Ducks, the Blue Jackets, Flames, Sabres, Devils, Capitals, Lightning, and Canucks. In the meh category, I have the Islanders, Flyers, Panthers, Coyotes, Bruins, and Habs. In bad, I have the Oilers, Predators, and Leafs. And in the awful category, I have the Sharks, Wings, Wild, Stars, Golden Knights, and Jets. Um, so we'll kick it over to who did I put next? Tim, why don't you run us through your thought process when you were ranking them, and then give us your list here.
My thought process really came down to just whether I like the jerseys or not, and originality also stood a big factor. So in beautiful, I have Chicago, Anaheim, Calgary, LA, the Coyotes, the Panthers, and the Capitals. In good, I have St. Louis, Ottawa, Colorado, Minnesota, the Habs, the Whalers, Carolina jerseys, and the Sabre jerseys. In meh, we have the Flyers, the Knights, the Rangers, Pittsburgh, the Bruins, the Canucks, the Sabres, or not the Sabres, the Predators, and the Jets. In bad, we have Edmonton, New Jersey, and Columbus. And then in the absolutely trash, awful, I don't even know why they bothered showing up to the fucking game in these jerseys are the Islanders, the Sharks, the Red Wings, the Dallas Stars, the Lightning, and the fucking ugly Maple Leafs.
And last but certainly not least, we'll go to Steve again. Thought process, why you ranked them where you did, and just give us your
S-
list.
So I kind of used the meh category as not jerseys necessarily that I thought were uh passable, but ones that I thought may or may not have been like a failure, but I respect the creativity behind it, or they were just boring. Bad jerseys are jerseys that I think really didn't meet the mark either creatively or just visually, like they just kind of failed. And obviously awful is just jerseys that clearly missed the mark both creatively and like visually, like very clearly the worst. So I have in the beautiful category, I have the Nordiques by way of Colorado. I have the Panthers, the Coyotes, the Kings, the Hawks, the Whalers, the Hurricanes, Whalers jerseys, and contrary to what everybody else has been saying so far, the Toronto Maple Leafs. I really like the blue. In the good category, I have Ottawa, the Wild Wing jersey from Anaheim, Montreal, San Jose, Minnesota, Boston, Calgary, and Washington. Meh for me is St. Louis, Buffalo, the Islanders and the Rangers, Philly and Edmonton. Um, and then in bed I have the Penguins, the Blue Jackets, the Devils, the Lightning, the Golden Knights, and the Canucks. And then an awful is the Jets, Stars, the Red Wings, and the Predators.
So let's start with the ones that we kind of agreed on. And I guess we'll work our way down. Um, and so we'll start with the ones we agree on. We all had I believe we all have the Kings in the top one. We all have Chicago, the Kings, and I think that's it. Those are the only two we agree on in beautiful. Just kind of, I guess we'll go to Steve first. What about these two jerseys did you really like so much that you ranked them in the beautiful category?
Well, I think the Hawks did a good job of like meshing like their history with the elements of their jerseys that we talked about previously. Like, it's like Tim said, you can always look good in a Chicago Blackhawks uniform. You can rock it with anything. And I think this just kind of follows in that tradition, and it's clean. I mean, I know the picture that the NHL gave us is literally just the back, but like from all the other pictures we've seen of it, it looks really clean. And I think the LA Kings are up there is just because it's such a unique meshing of like old and new, right? It's, well, not old and new, but old and slightly older, I guess. Because it's the Wayne Gretzky era logo and jersey design, but with, the LA Kings forum blue and gold. And I don't know, it's just so clean. It looks so good. Both of them just really look good.
Tim, what did you think about Chicago and LA? We all agreed that they are top tier jerseys.
I love the emblem and the front of that Chicago Blackhawks jersey, the one that they won't fucking show us in any of the pictures that they have. Like, we've seen them. Like, I don't know why they can't just post it.
It's not like historical pictures of these jerseys don't exist, Like, I don't know why they feel the need to be so secretive about the reveal.
Yeah, it's not like we don't know what. I'm pretty sure the Blackhawks have put it on their Twitter,
Twitter, I think,
but
yeah.
it's also like, why was it not in the reveal? Like,
Yeah.
what's the point?
And to Tim's point, like the front is really nice. The logo is cool. It looks a lot like what was it, their Winter Classic jerseys from a couple years ago?
Yeah, the black ones.
Mm-hmm.
Those ones are sick. And that Kings one, the purple and gold is just fire. It's just like a fire colorway. And that logo, the Gretzky logo, is probably like one of their best logos. It just looks the cleanest.
I think it also like really plays into like just the year, right? 2020. Like at the beginning of the year, Kobe Bryant died, and then we end up with the
Lakers,
LA Lakers winning a championship. So it's like they're trying to really like, I
the
guess,
Lakers thing.
yeah, like it's kind of like what the Islanders did with Brooklyn. They tried to make themselves like part of the identity, and it's like,
With the
whereas
Nets.
yeah, whereas like the Kings here, it's like, okay, yeah, this just makes sense though. Like these were their colors.
Yeah.
So like I appreciate them trying to like integrate themselves with the team that shares their building. I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean,
Now let's talk about. Oh, I just didn't care about Rob's opinion.
I was just gonna say that I think that logo and that style of jersey works in both the purple and obviously it works in the old black and silver that they had it in. I've always been a big fan of the LA Kings purple jerseys. I honestly wouldn't mind seeing them wear it all the time. I think that it's unique. It's a definitely. I mean, it's the only purple jersey in the league. Unless you want to count the Avalanche, they have like a little bit of a lighter purple, but like that royal, more darker purple. I really enjoyed. I really enjoy that color, and I think it's definitely a unique color. And then the Blackhawks is just a classic look. It's clean. They didn't try to do too much with the striping. They kept it very simple. They didn't try to mess with the colors too much. They were like, listen, like black, red, and white. That's Chicago Blackhawks lore. It's always been that way. So we're going to keep it simple. We're going to keep it tight. We're going to keep it right. Throw a classic logo on there. Don't do too much, and it's going to come out, it's going to come out looking good. One of the other jerseys that we all agreed on, and one of the more interesting ones that came out of this, we didn't all agree, but we all had it in either beautiful or good, was the Colorado Avalanche Nordiques jersey, which I was nervous about how they were going to execute it. How do you guys think they did taking the classic look of the Nordiques jersey and meshing it with the Colorado colors? Do you guys think they? I mean, obviously we agreed they did it well, but what about it did they execute well in your opinion? Either one of you, if you want to jump in.
Honestly, I don't really think they executed that. I think they could have did it. I personally, if it wasn't for the logo and how much I love the Avalanche, I probably wouldn't have ranked that high because I don't like those Saint little
the
things along the
fleur-de-lis.
bottom. Yeah, I don't like those along the bottom. I think that they're ugly. They look very out of place.
See, I mean, I like it because that's just so classic to like Quebec. Like they always had the Fleur de Lis on their jersey. Um, I was a little nervous that they were gonna go for like the baby blue colorway that they used to have, like the baby blue and like the bright red that Quebec wore, and I think that would have been really out of place in like Colorado of all places. I just like that they decided they were like, all right, well, we're not gonna touch like the blue. We're gonna go with the white jersey because it's probably gonna be the least offensive in terms of color. And they just were like, we'll just they essentially took the eyedropper tool in Photoshop and just replaced the red with like their like maroon color. But like it's a subtle enough difference that you notice it, but it also doesn't like take away from like the heritage of the whole thing, you know? So I don't know. I think they just really nailed it in that sense that like they managed to bring back such a classic look without either like ruining it or tampering with it all that much. So I gave them really high marks for that. I thought that was really creative.
Yeah, I think if they would have tried to do a true throwback all the way to Quebec, and they had the blue and the red involved, but they like maybe color palette swapped it, I don't think it would have looked good. Um, Obviously, I'm a huge fan of the original Quebec Nordique jerseys. I think they're wonderful and they're fantastic jerseys. But I think they made the right decision in saying, okay, we're going to pay homage to the Nordiques, but we're not going to mess with their colors. We're going to pay homage with the logo, but we're going to bring it to Colorado, make it our colors. So that way you don't get the crowd that's like, they meshed with the coloring of the original jerseys, and it doesn't look good. Kind of like, for argument's sake, something like what the Dallas Stars did, where they took the black jersey and made it white. But they paid successful tribute and also made it Colorado. It's not a Nordiques jersey. It's a Colorado Avalanche tribute to a Nordiques jersey. I think that's an important distinction.
So I guess piggybacking off of that, do you want to talk about the Jets? Another team that went to pay homage, and we all agreed fell flat on their face trying to.
I don't understand. Okay, so I'm mad because this is my favorite Jets logo. Because they have the two logos. They have the white one, right? Where the hockey stick is sticking out of the side and sticking out at the top. That's the one they use when they do throwback stuff. But this one specifically with the jet in the circle is my favorite Jets logo. I've always loved this logo. And then they were like, yeah, let's make it as boring as possible. They're like, their argument was this is their current colors. But a gray,
without the red.
Just like there's no red, there's no pop, and there's a reason that your primary home jerseys are navy blue and not gray. It looks just like, ugh, like why?
I just think gray is too utilitarian a color to use for like a sports uniform in most cases because it's very like what is it? I mean like if they had maybe gone with like silver and like used more of like the lighter blue, it might have worked. But like the gray with the navy blue just like mutes the whole thing, and it really just I don't see even like in a uniform like all together on the ice. I don't see it really being that appealing. Like even look at the navy blue pants and everything.
That's where I actually disagree with you. I think that if they do the accents right on everything, it could come out really nice. Because it wouldn't be a dark blue accent. It'd be that light blue accent.
Yeah, but I'm just they use so much of that navy that the pants are probably just going to be the navy blue like they do for their regular jerseys and stuff.
Yeah, that's why I put it in meh. Because I actually probably should have prefaced that. When I made the meh category, I put jerseys in there that may look good in full uniform, but don't look very good right now.
That's fair.
If you have a jersey that the whole thing is gonna be like a flat color, there has to be a pop somewhere, you know?
Well, that's the thing. If the pants, and your shell, like your socks, all have that blue accent in it, and it's accented right, it could come out really nice. It could come out like a Carolina Hurricane, like a Carolina Panthers jersey.
I think they just needed a little something. Not even like a full like bottom stripe if you don't want to go that far. Like a little accent of like maybe that light blue or like a red, you know, something small that would have just been like, okay, you know, here's a little bit of pop. But to me, when I'm looking at it, it's just like boring.
All right, Rob. So since we're on this category, now let's get straight into it. How the fuck did you put that plain ass Liberty jersey in the beautiful category?
Because I think it's a faithful recreation of what it was. Because the original Liberty jersey didn't really have that much going on, and I will say that yes, they need something at the bottom there. Even if
And
there
the
was like
top.
one stripe, you know, at the bottom of the jersey to kind of like give it a little bit of something else. Because they have it on the arms and it makes it look, you know, decent on the arms. Um, it just needed that one extra little thing. But the reason I kept it in beautiful is because, I mean, I'm a big fan. I've always been a big fan of that logo. And it's a faithful recreation of what the jersey was. The reason that it keeps that from being my favorite jersey that they came out with is because it is a little bit plain. They needed a little extra stripe or something, you know. But at least it has the red accents with the white on the arm that give it a little bit of like something eye catching, you know. And the logo itself is eye catching. They made the Jets logo gray and blue, and it kind of just fades into the jersey, you know. With the Rangers, like, oh, there's like blues, reds, whites, and the Jets, it's like, oh, there's some white and a really dark blue and like a little bit of a light blue, but the whole jersey is gray, so like, eh. I do agree though. It is a little bit plain. It needs a little something at the bottom, I think.
I think them taking the red arms off of it really just kind of ruined the jersey, to be honest. It made it look kind of like a tarp.
Yeah, no, the jersey just looks like it looks like a big shirt. It doesn't really look like it's
Talking big
like,
shirts. How about the fucking, you know? There's a lot of them that look like big shirts, but we'll get into that. Sorry, Steve, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's just like they tried to make it as close to the Rangers home jersey as possible with like the stripes on the arms, but I don't know. In certain instances, I feel like they tried to tweak these too much to make them modern or bring them into like 2020. And in other cases, I feel like they just really didn't do enough to really like change anything or make it interesting, you know? And in this case, I feel like it's the latter. They really didn't. They changed it, or the former. They changed it too much, and it's kind of just, meh.
it was clear what teams had new creative directors and what teams had old creative directors.
Well, the interesting thing is, I read that these teams, this process took like 2 years, and these teams have been like they filtered this out from like, I think it was something like 50 entries per team from Adidas for these jerseys, and it makes you wonder like what
How the fuck did we get
yeah,
some
like
of
how did
these?
Detroit filter out 49 other entrants to end up here? Or like Dallas. It's like what do the other ones look like that you got to this?
How did that get approved? First of all, it looks like
The
a
team
lab
approved
coat.
it.
The
The team literally is the one that said this is the jersey we want.
both the wings and the stars jersey look like lab coats. I mean, okay, I do want to talk about the stars jersey because I'm very disappointed in those. Do you guys agree that if they would have the bottom part, right? Not the top upper part, but the bottom part, if they added color to that, do you think that would have made it better?
If they would have just made it a green, if they would have just made the whole bottom half of this like the shade of the star green, so you would have like a white shaped star on the jersey, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Kind of like the old kind of like the inverse of the Summit Series jerseys where like the maple leaf was on the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that would have worked. But or even just like changing the black ones to green and using a lot of green with it, like and using their new colorway as opposed to the old one, might have been cool. But instead, they kind of just like bleached the whole thing, and it's just really boring.
Like, do you think if they would have taken the old jersey, I'm gonna drop a link here. If they
I
would have
think
had it like the black in this jersey, you think it would have looked better?
I honestly think that if they would have went like the Golden Knights route and they would have added like they didn't even really need to make it like they could have made it gold, white, and like another like really off like shiny silver type of color, and just kind of made it like that Golden Knights pop on their how like their away jerseys look, where it's like
Hmm.
that white and gold just like pop. If they would have just did that, like if they would have trimmed that white star with like a sparkle like silver trim and then like a gold outline that popped around the whole thing, it could have made it a lot better.
And to your point, Rob, about the other jersey you sent, which is like the originals of these, I don't see why they wouldn't just invert them. If they really wanted to do something with this design, why wouldn't you just make it black with like a green star and do like the gold trim, like Tim said, to really throw back to like, your Stanley Cup, your one and only Stanley Cup win?
Yeah, I
Because
mean,
that's obviously what they want.
and not even to mention the fact that you can't see the lettering on the jersey because the lettering is light. It's
That's what,
white surrounded by gold. You can't even see it.
well, yeah, that's why they needed like either more layers or something else in there to like really pop to like the outlines of everything. Because that's
You
the
know what?
issue. It's like this. If it wasn't for the green of like that outline of the star, you wouldn't even be able to tell that there was the star outline in it in the
You wouldn't
jersey.
even, I mean, I can't even read Dallas Stars on it. And like, that's my,
Right.
see, the biggest issue with it too is like, it really looks like they, in, traditional artistic, like design sense, right? They either did too much or too little in a lot of these jerseys. And Dallas looks like they went into like the meeting room or like the conference room and they sat down and like, all right, we want to do something really minimal but retro. And it's like, okay, cool. And then they sat down and showed him a design, and the guy just clicked the paint bucket tool and just made everything white and was like, that's it. That's perfect. They're
Yes.
like, he's like, wait, so you meant like by minimalism, you meant literally nothing? He's like, yes. Put us out there in a blank white jersey. And it's like, oh, okay, sure. But yeah, I mean, the same can be said with the Red Wings, right? Like, what
Oh my
what
god.
did they do? Like, they wanted to throw it back to the way they worded it is they want to throw it back to the '98 team that won the second Stanley Cup in a row, right? The only problem is the jersey they're wearing is identical to the one the '98 team was wearing because it's identical to the team that won the two Stanley Cups in the 1950s were wearing that the team won the Stanley Cups in the '40s wearing. Like, they haven't really changed their uniforms. So I don't appreciate, I guess, Detroit trying to slide this like, oh, we're just replicating our winning jerseys under our nose, and in reality, it's like, no, you guys just didn't like you just kind of recycled your not your heritage classic, your Centennial Classic jerseys. You added some silver that was already on the jersey from the Centennial Classic, and just removed all the silver outline that was on that jersey, and we're like, ta-da, here it is.
The problem is so the link I just dropped, their current home jerseys are essentially throwbacks because when they revealed these things and said we're going to go back to the Detroit Red Wings jerseys of old. So these
But even then,
jerseys
like,
are like literally just their home jerseys, white, and instead of a white stripe, it's silver. You know what I'm saying?
even if they wanted to throw it back, like I'm saying, like the ones that they were talking about, like specifically those ones from the '90s, like the throwbacks, are identical to the ones they wear now. Like you said, like they made the big point of going back to those, but like uh, there's really not a lot to do with an original six franchise, right? Because like the trademark and like the iconography of the whole thing is so like um I guess traditional that it's hard to change anything. But I don't appreciate Detroit not even trying. You know, that's kind of my big issue. It feels like they didn't even really like attempt to do anything else. They kind of were just like, yeah,
I mean, okay, so my argument is with original six franchises, certain ones, right? Detroit and Montreal being the two that I can think of the most, have had incredibly consistent looks throughout their history. There's not been a lot of differences, you know? But Detroit has also a rich history they could have bought back. They could have bought back, a variation of the Detroit D logo that they did for their first Winter Classics, or go Detroit Cougars jersey. Vegas was throwing it back to a different team. Detroit, I mean, yeah, you want to do something with the Red Wings, but the Detroit Cougars were the first team there, right?
Detroit
And
Cougars are the Detroit Red Wings. It's the same
right,
team.
yeah. So it's like, and for a team that had, you remember those first Winter Classic jerseys, not the one that I just put in the chat, but like the D with like the cream and like, just like beautiful.
They were white, yeah, the
I
white
just
ones.
don't know where they thought this shit was gonna sell. Like, I don't know how you went into the booth and you were like, "Yo, I bet you people would buy this."
Listen,
I
Especially in
bet
a
you
city like
people.
Detroit.
Like, that's the thing. Like, Detroit is such an iconic team. Like, you dead don't even need to. Like, it doesn't need to be anything Detroit to sell. Like, no, it's like the Raiders. It doesn't need to be like no one needs to watch hockey to wear a Detroit Red Wings thing. It's something that people just from Detroit wear.
my,
Like the look is just iconic.
if
And-
if they convinced the Montreal Canadiens to go a different route, you can't tell me that you couldn't have convinced the Red Wings to do the same thing. Because the Canadiens are the most stubborn organization in the NHL.
See, the thing with the Canadians though is like they really didn't change, right? They were just like, hey, how about we throw you your blue Globe jerseys and we just put your logo on it? And they were like, okay. So, and apparently on the article for that Montreal one, it's supposed to throw back to the '76 team, which what? They didn't wear blue. The Montreal Canadiens have worn a little the same, which is kind of what we were saying, right? They've worn the same uniform for almost 100 years. So it's like, where do you
But you
like
can at least
why change
appreciate
anything?
the innovation.
Well, I could at least appreciate them being like, you know what? It's a kind of the same thing, but like, it's a different color.
It's different enough that if you own a Canadian jersey, you might still buy it.
Yeah. Whereas like if you own a Red Wings jersey, why are you gonna go out and buy this thing? It's just so much less interesting than anything else you could buy that has the red wheel on it.
Which, I mean, in a similar vein, we talk about the Islanders jersey. I don't understand, first of all, it's supposed to throw back to the 1980 team, right? So they took the 1980 jersey and they made it navy blue, which is essentially the jerseys that we were wearing from 1996 to 2009. It's the same exact jersey. I own both a current New York Islanders jersey and a jersey from that era. I own a Chris Osgood jersey from the early 2000s. Why am I going to buy this jersey? It's the same thing. They're like, it's the 80s jersey, but darker. And it's like, okay, so the 90s jersey. Like, why didn't you just call it a 90s throwback and be done with it? Because that's all you did.
I mean,
And, like,
yeah, I mean they went for like they could have just said we're throwing back to 1993 with we went to the Eastern Conference Final and had all this great run with all these great players and said like we're gonna not memorialize but like
Commemorate.
commemorate our 1980 team, which won our first Stanley Cup by putting it on the ice with that date, but the jersey from 1993. Like what?
they should have just done a throwback if they really wanted to throw it back to those like early 2000 jerseys. They should have just bitten it, like should just admitted what they were doing, making an early 2000 jersey, and just be like, oh, we're throwing it back to the early 2000s, like 2001. The famous Sean Bates penalty shot game against the Toronto Maple Leafs. Like every Islanders fan knows what that's talking about, and then at least you could be like, okay, don't like lie to my face, be like, it's an 80s jersey but darker. It's like, no, it's not. Like, it's the same jersey. And that's why I put it in meh, because it's like, it's so boring. I don't even have an opinion on it.
That's where I put it there too, because it's just so like the lack of creativity is so awe-inspiring. It's just like what?
They're like, we
Literally
had 2
nothing?
years to come up with this.
That's why I put it in awful, because it just
See,
was so lazy.
I
It was
couldn't
so
put it.
lazy.
I can't put it in awful because the look itself is good and classic and clean and like it is so good. But in terms of like the context of what this is, it's just meh to me because like it's not bad, but it's certainly not good. It's just more lazy than anything.
I do want to ask you something, Steve. You said that you don't like gray as a base for a jersey, but you have the Sharks up in good. Is it because they have a little bit more of that teal going on that makes it pop a
It's
little bit more?
brighter, yeah. It's a little brighter is what I think. Like I think if Winnipeg had decided to do it a similar way where they used like you see how San Jose is using black as more of the accent color, and they
Yeah.
use like the baby blue as not the baby blue, but the teal is more like their like the actual accent color. I think if Winnipeg had just used their like lighter blue as the actual accent, and went with like a darker blue as like the like the trim and everything, I think it would have looked good. But this one, I just like it because it's also so classic. It reminds me of like Doug Wilson and all those like those early San Jose teams. So I just think I put it in good because it's faithful to what it was originally supposed to be, and I think it just looks clean. Like the execution on it was good. So, well, I might not be like a complete fan of like the gray like base. I think like overall it looks pretty good. I just don't know what it's gonna look like on the ice, and that's really where like I'm kind of nervous.
Tim, I know why I put it where I did. Why did you put the Sharks jersey where you did?
That logo is goofy. The
It
Sharks literally made one of the coolest jerseys ever in that little summer jersey that they made. That little like, what did they wore in practice? That little like, do you remember which one I'm talking about? It was a little like
it's about like the one with the palm trees in it.
yeah, the little beach styled one. That was one of the coolest jerseys that they've ever made, and they just like I don't know why they didn't choose that. They literally had a whole jersey made, whole completely different jersey.
I I think like the reason that I'm not a huge fan of it is just because I personally don't like that particular um I,
The arms are also hideous.
I think that it looks a bit weird because the gray comes a little bit far down the arm. Maybe if they raise the color on the arm up a little bit to kind of offset it. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of that style on the arms. I'm more of a stripe guy instead of like the slanted nature of the stripes. But I mean, I got to be honest with you. I didn't like the original version of those jerseys, so I'm a little bit biased. I'm just going to admit that. Like the original version of those jerseys didn't really stand out to me, so the revamp to me would have needed to kind of do something different in order to make it different to me. So I wasn't a huge fan of it, but I mean, it's in terms of in terms of my ranking of awful jerseys, it's probably the one that was closest to being just not good instead of being awful. I don't
Yeah.
hate it as much as I hate like the Jets jersey because it's such a huge disappointment. Like,
So I have something I want to ask you. Tim and I both put the Minnesota North, the Minnesota Wild slash North Stars throwback in at least good. Yet you threw it in awful. Why do you hate it so much?
you know
Is
what
it
it
the
is?
colors or is it like?
I think I have a mental hang up on it because it is a North Stars tribute. And I respect that because I think the North Stars jerseys were great. But I think I just have a mental hang up when they take this particular set of colors and try to apply it to a Wild jersey. Um, I mean,
The Wild logo is so cool though.
I mean, it looks like Subway to me, like to be honest with you, but
But like the North Stars looked like that.
I mean, that's just like is the Packers Subway too?
just something about the striping, and you know what it is too, like. I think I just have a mental block with it. I just think I look at that and I'm thinking North Stars, but then I see the Wild and I'm like, I'm not thrilled.
You just
with it.
hate the Wild though.
Okay. My opinion of the
You
hockey
just have
team.
such a passionate hate for them.
Yeah, but that's not impacting my ranking here. Like I have the fucking Penguins jersey in good, and I hate the Penguins more than any other team in the league.
Yeah, but like I'm just saying, like you really don't like Minnesota, so I don't even think you, Dave. I think you were like, "Yo, I just don't fuck with this," and now you're just like, yeah, no, fuck
I
Minnesota.
honestly think if you put a North Stars logo on that jersey, I'm putting it higher. I think that there's something to be said for that.
Well, I mean, yeah, if you put a North Stars logo on it, it's literally a dead
It's just a
ringer for a
North
North
Star.
Stars. Yeah, like that's the
It's
only
actually
difference. Like your biggest hangup is that it's the Minnesota Wild and not the North Stars,
I don't know.
which
I
like
just don't
they
think
can't put the
that
North
like
Stars logo on it. They just can't. Like Dallas owns the trademark. So like this is the best we're gonna get.
I don't know. I feel like when I think of the Minnesota Wild, I think of, and I know that the point of these jerseys was to be different, right? That's the whole point. But with a lot of the other jerseys, they kept a similar color palette to the team. Whereas when I think of the Wild, I think of like the darker greens and like kind of the like maroon red that they have in the logo. I think it's just I don't know. It's something about the combination of like too bright with the Minnesota Wild not like I think of darker colors when I think of that team. Um,
It's gonna be very bright on the ice. I don't know if it's particularly like aesthetically like pleasing as much as like I just appreciate that they executed on a throwback so effectively and like it's so easily reminiscent of the original, you know?
I'm gonna
it was
give
such
them
a
credit for
small detail.
creativity. I'm gonna give them credit for creativity. I will say that
They
it's
did
different.
so little, but it looks so good. That's like the minimalist change that like a lot of that those other teams were going for that didn't work out. That's literally
Yeah.
what this comes down to.
I mean, okay. I do want to ask you guys about because this is another team I have a mental block with. Is the Montreal Canadiens jersey because the Canadians are so ingrained in red home jerseys, white away jerseys. Like they've
I
always
like that
had
one.
that. And I actually I love the fact that they went different. We didn't get just another red Canadian jersey. We didn't get just another white Canadian jersey. They were like, we're gonna go for big air, we're gonna go for blue, and it's different. And I really, really appreciate the fact that they took that risk. I just don't know if I like it enough to get over that mental block. Like, are you guys experiencing like a similar situation, or like why did you put it where you guys put it? Because I put it in the meh category. Steve, you
I
have it in. Where did you put it? Where did you put your Canadian
It's in
jersey?
good.
You have it in good, and Tim, you have it in good as well. So, like, why did you guys bump it up one spot from just meh?
Well, because I think
because
it's not
I think it
ugly.
looks really nice.
Yeah. Like it's not like to me meh is just like either like I said, it's either something that didn't do anything creatively or I just didn't think was all that interesting. And like yeah, it's not all that creative because they just inverted the color, but I still think like it's such a like again, it's like the Islanders, right? Like I can't rate it any lower or any lower than meh because it's so classic. You know what I mean? So I can't rank it any lower than meh. But to me, I think it is like a solid good jersey. So like I put it in good. I think it's removing the Montreal Canadian history or legacy of the whole thing and just looking at it from like a purely hockey standpoint. I think it's clean, and it's gonna look great with red pants and like the blue socks. It's gonna look clean on the ice.
That's, I think that it's just a nice change of pace from the red is what it comes down to. And like they didn't change their colors. Their colors are still red, white,
And
and
their
blue.
I and their
Or like that.
identity is still intact. You know, like you still look at that and go, "Oh, it's the Montreal Canadiens." You know what I
Yeah, like
mean?
they didn't lose anything by going with the blue over the red. It's just like a nice creative touch. It's like when the Seattle Seahawks changed all their shit to like that green color.
Mm-hmm.
To like try it just to change like they were always had the green color in their thing. It just they like emphasized it more to give themselves a new identity.
So
And when you trade Max Domi for dog shit, you kind of need a new identity. Got him.
yeah. So I also want to point out I'm the only person who ranked the Bruins jersey higher than meh. So what don't you guys like about it?
I just wish they did something else.
I
That's so fucking boring.
I
See,
kind of agree. I think that's the biggest reason why I put it there is they didn't. It's not an ugly jersey by any stretch. I think it's a good looking jersey,
They
but
have
they
so many options. They have like the
see, but
most options in the league.
they don't have that many options because they use all the old logos already. They use their
But
big B, they use their bear. Like they really don't have many options outside of that because they wear all their old uniforms pretty regularly. So I just appreciate that they were like, maybe we'll go gold. And like, I think it's interesting.
I don't think it's
I don't know how
ugly.
good it. Yeah, no, I don't. I don't know. I'm
It,
not saying you
the
guys are
big
wrong.
B is just a cop out.
Well, the big B is like one of their old logos, and then they have the bear, and that's it. Like it's the B with the wheel, the
Yeah,
B,
I
and the
know.
bear.
It just
And the only other bear logo they used was that fucking awful one
The
from
Winnie
like
the
the
Pooh one.
90s. That thing was terrible.
Oh, the Winnie the Pooh logo. I would have
well, you
liked
see,
to have. Oh,
I think
sorry. Go
they
ahead,
could
Tim.
have done. I think that they could have gotten creative with the bear. I think that they could have got a little more creative with the.
See,
I don't know.
my
I
thing
think
is
that there
like,
was a little more options.
see, I understand what you're saying, but I think in this vein, like they wanted to like not go and do anything kind of in like new with it, really. They wanted to like do something new with an old design, which is kind of why we got stuck with some of these. Because I think like if they just wanted to go for like new designs, I would have just rebranded a lot of these teams outright. Like the Devils, I would have totally changed, you know? Because again, I think they're just a cop out. Every time they're like throwback, they just throw green on their jersey, and it's like fantastic. I'm glad you guys are the least creative fucking team in the entire NHL because every time there's any sort of special commemorative event, they literally just throw green on their jersey and go, ta-da, it's throwback. And it's like, yeah, it's identical except you have green instead of red or green instead of black. Okay.
I I would have liked to have seen them maybe try to do something with the bear logo that has Bruins underneath it with the stars on top.
Mm.
I would have liked to have seen them maybe take a crack at that, but to your point, they did use that for a Winter Classic jersey already.
They
So
use it as their
maybe
alternate for a lot of years too. Remember it was all black.
yeah, so maybe they were like, all right, like that's a little bit done out. You're not gonna bring back the Winnie the Pooh jersey because I mean, first of all, like the logo itself is just not good, and some of these teams did bring back logos that were considered like questionable, but none of them I don't really see any of the logos that they brought back being as hated as the Winnie the Pooh logo was at the time, and it's also just not a good logo to begin with.
The only thing that could have been worse would have been if like the LA Kings brought back the Ronald McDonald
The
jerseys.
Burger King jersey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, the reason I put it in meh is because it's not ugly. It's a nice, clean
What if the
jersey.
Canucks brought back those fucking black and red
Well,
Oh,
they
with the
and
did.
gold?
V-neck.
They did.
With
They
the
just made it
V-necks.
blue and oh no 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 the V necks no 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 no
Yeah,
no 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 no
that's what
I'm
no.
I'm talking
surprised.
about.
I mean,
Imagine they brought back the V-necks. That'd be crazy.
I would.
see, so okay, totally off topic. For some reason, those V-necked jerseys always remind me of Space Ghost, and I can't tell you why. It's something about the colors and the way it's patterned looks like a bad guy from Space Ghost.
I could actually see
I
what you're
just get
talking
real
about.
like I get real rock star vibes. I feel like Gene Simmons would have worn it, or like
Yeah,
Queen
yeah,
would have
bro.
came out in that.
It's
But
just
it would have
not
been
a
like
good look.
fluffy and furry.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
And I understand why the Canucks didn't do the like the skate logo this time. Like I can appreciate that because like they did it last year.
well, that was their alternates. Yeah.
Yeah. So like I appreciate that they went with the gradient one, but like and I like that they didn't use the red because we can all agree that the red Canucks was a weird like era and like it's just not good.
It just
They
wasn't
essentially just like
Vancouver.
they just ripped the Colorado Avalanche's colors. They were like, "Yo, we're gonna take those real quick." And so, but to your point, when we were talking, because to like all obviously all disclaimer, Rob and I, and we all talk obviously before the podcast, so we've talked about these jerseys before. And Rob actually made a point, so I probably moved the Canucks out of bad on my list and moved them into meh now because you pointed out that the gradient isn't as pronounced because the logo got lowered, so it just looks like the jersey's just half blue and half green, and I think that's actually better than the original because the original was just like that gradient was so weird.
The original was like, look, guys, it's a gradient, and like
We
that
can
was the
use
focal point.
Photoshop.
Yeah.
It's like, all right,
I do.
cool.
Okay. One. I mean, we're gonna talk about all these jerseys, obviously, but one that I want to talk about is something that Steve and I previewed when we were talking about some of the jerseys that got leaked. The Anaheim Ducks throwback with Wild Wing. Are you disappointed that they essentially just did the old jersey and they didn't go with that orange that we saw leaked?
Not really. I mean, I think it's really. I give it really high marks just because it's so interesting and like not traditional for hockey. So I think it's really cool, and I also like the colors a lot. But I'm not disappointed they didn't use their new orange or anything. Like Anaheim, if any team's gonna like rest on their laurels of like jersey history, it's got to be the Anaheim Ducks because like anytime they touch those old, Mighty Ducks jerseys, they're just gold. They're always good.
Yeah, I think that the keeping it a white base instead of using the orange, because I actually really like the orange on that leak that we saw. I thought that was really really
Hmm.
nice. I think that's what kept it from being in a beautiful category, and it was just a good jersey to me. But I would still buy one. I think it's great. It's definitely unique. It's probably the most unique jersey on this list, I would say. Um, it's
Nah, that's the Coyote one.
well,
The
okay.
I'd argue the three most unique are probably the Coyotes, the Ducks, and probably the Flames, honestly. So yeah.
Well, okay. So, uh, what do we think about the Flames jersey? Because when Blasty the horse came out, it was like
Oh,
panned. Everyone
it's still
hated it.
terrible. Blasty the Horse is still an awful logo. Like there's no taking from that. Like this thing is through and through disgusting, but like it's so greasy, it's good. You know? It's like when you see the guy at the rink in the mirrored visor, it's so bad it's good. You're like, wow, all right, I can fuck with this.
Their stripes and lines came out really good.
And the colorway is just so good too, like
Yeah,
the orange and the yellow, like it's just so good.
I like the lines on it. The stripes came out really good.
I
Like
Yeah,
the
agree.
I agree. I mean,
with the
usually,
logo, the logo is big enough that like that the stripes and the stripes pop enough that like and black is just so like a minimalist basic color that like the red really just stands out enough that you don't need a lot of it.
yeah. I mean, normally I'm not a huge fan of jerseys that have like that kind of bent V at the bottom, like they have. But it's slight enough that it like I don't really even notice it, and the colors are just so good. And you guys know that I have a reputation of being a fan of bad logos. I actually think that logo's hilarious. I don't mind it at all. I think it's
I
definitely better as like a shoulder patch for sure, but I think they did a good enough job with the jersey overall that I'm like, yeah, Blasty, like hell yeah, I'm into this now. Like, um, well, okay, let's talk about the Coyotes jersey because I have it in meh. Tim has it in beautiful, and Steve, you also have it in beautiful. So, why did you guys put it where you guys
no.
did?
Why did you put it in math?
Yeah, you're the only one I know who doesn't like this thing.
Okay,
No,
okay,
This thing
okay,
is
and
okay.
so fire.
there's one reason that I would put it in math. So if it's the same one, I'll accept it. Continue.
I think that they could have done with maybe an accent stripe on the shoulder area somewhere. I think that's the biggest thing for me is the top looks really really plain, and then you have this. I think the bottom is really cool. I think that's dope. You have the desert pattern at the bottom. You got some cacti down there. I have no issue with the logo. I just think that the top is too plain compared to what you get at the bottom. Like even if you had a little accent stripe on the top of like maybe white or something like that, I think that would have made a world of difference. But I don't
See,
think it's ugly.
I
I
think
think
if
that
they
with
would have done,
shoulder pads, you won't even notice it though.
I think
I
if they
think that
put,
like,
it,
sorry,
no, I was gonna say it would just be too busy in my opinion if you put anything on top.
yeah, like there's if anything, it's almost too busy with the bottom trim.
Mm-hmm.
Like the only reason that I would maybe say I don't like it is because it's a little goofy and it looks like a roller hockey jersey.
Yeah, it's
But like
it's.
I like the goofiness honestly. So
I think it's fun. It's like I'm tired of these teams taking themselves so seriously all the time, and it's like that's why I'm glad I saw like we see Wild Wing and Blasty back because it's like these things are so like just weird and like not.
and even that goofy ass shark.
Yeah, like there's a lot of these that I think they really had a lot of fun with, and like it shows. And the ones I feel like they had the most fun with are probably the like show to be the best ones.
Yeah, I don't think it's an ugly jersey at all. I think I kind of agree with Tim saying it looks a little bit roller hockey ish. Um, I have no problem with the pattern on the bottom. I think it's cool. Like you, Steve, I like the ingenuity. I like the change. I like the difference. I just think that you have so much going on at the bottom that maybe if you added a little, like just a small thing at the top, it would have balanced it out a little bit more. Because it kind of almost looks like a t-shirt too, you know? But I don't think it's ugly by any stretch of the imagination. The reason I put it in meh is it's a little bit, there's not enough going on up top, and I don't think you need a lot going on up top. Just a little bit of something at the top would have kind of put it over the edge for me, you know?
I think with like the right shoulder patches, it might be.
Yeah,
Better.
that's also true. Man, none of these have shoulder patches, really, now that I'm looking at it. Well, not a lot of them do. Which is weird, because when they were revealing these, they were showing, like, other logos and stuff. Other than the ones that are on the jersey. So, I don't know what the deal with that is. What do we think about Columbus? I think this is one of the more interesting ones that we see up here.
I don't like it, honestly.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. Not a fan by any stretch of the imagination.
So you know how like we just said that the Coyotes jersey was like a roller hockey jersey in the best way possible?
Yeah.
This is a roller hockey in like the worst way possible. You know, like why the white arms? Why? It's just so strange looking, and like that original logo is so bad, dude. Like, I know you don't have a lot of like jersey history to throw back to as Columbus because you've only been in the league like 20 years, but like, oof, I wish they would have done something else. I appreciate that they tried to do something red, but like still, oof.
Those white arms are hideous. And like how there's that cuff at the bottom of the arms that's blue. Ew.
And then like the white cuff on the bottom of the jersey under the blue like stripe, just not good. Just not good.
I agree that the arms are not great. Honestly, I don't like the white arms either. And we're actually going to get into this too when we get to the Toronto Maple Leafs jersey. I don't like jerseys where the arm stripe goes all the way up and around across the neck down to the other arm. The reason that I put it in good is because it's so different, you know. I really do appreciate the fact that the Columbus Blue Jackets were like, listen, you know, first of all, the logo is just like wacky and wild and weird, right? It's a CBJ like spelled in like light bulb lettering, like it's just bizarre, right? It's like a weird logo. I know it's obviously the logo they came into the league with, and so I might also have a little bit of like nostalgia goggles because this was the logo that, you know, kind of a little bit of story time. When I used to play, the first hockey game I ever got outside of the Genesis games was like NHL 2K3 or something like that. And I was just used to beat up on the Blue Jackets because they were so bad. I would just play them over and over again because they were awful in that game. And that was the logo they were wearing. So, like, maybe there's a little bit of nostalgia goggles on there for me. I don't know. I gave it a lot of points for just being different. It's like, if you didn't have a Blue Jackets logo on there, you would not be able to tell me that's a Blue Jackets jersey. And I think I like that, you know?
All right, so I guess I'll let's hear it. Why do you guys hate that Maple Leafs jersey so much? I'm the only one who didn't put it in.
Because it's fucking hideous.
It's the arms. That's the number one hang up for me because I hate arms like that. That's really the thing that I don't like about it.
But what about it makes it so hideous to you, Tim? It's literally just blue with a white stripe down the arm. Like, it's not any different than anything they wear.
It might be the picture. It just looks awful.
The picture, it looks so stretched and wide. So I can agree with how it looks in the picture, but from what I've seen of it, like on players and like the artist renderings of it,
the leaf just looks goofy.
That's the original leaf.
I know, it looks fucking goofy with that.
That's the one they've been wearing. It's
with that big fat fucking just white stripe across the bottom. It looks goofy as hell.
I mean, it's just a white stripe. Like I don't know what makes it so goofy.
It's just plain. It's big, plain.
Yeah,
it's like goofy looking.
It's big and plain. Like, it's not even silly. It's just plain. Like, it's just very plain.
Just looks silly to me.
This is like the Ballard era of the Maple Leafs too. So it's throwing back to like Daryl Sittler and like Dave Keon and guys like that. So I guess I don't know. To me, I appreciate that they did something so.
You guys and you two and me have a completely different opinion about this, though. I don't give a shit about the heritage to an extent. If it doesn't look good, I don't give a fuck if I don't like the way it looks.
See, but I think it looks good. I just don't like that they went, instead of being white arms, they're silver. Like if you guys actually look at these things, they're silver. There's no white on them at all. Like at all. It's all silver to commemorate their 100th anniversary. And it's like, why would you? And to your point, the original design, like this design, apparently, because like on the website, they made a.
Oh, did we lose him?
He's talking to me.
Yeah, my mom came in.
Oh, okay.
Like she's interrupted me 4 times during this. Like, oh, you didn't hear this? You didn't do that? You didn't. It's like I'm doing something. Fuck. But so my point is like it's the 70-71 Maple Leaf jersey, right? Like that's the actual jersey, but they took like the logo from the 60s. So yeah, it does look kind of weird. Because like I think they just made the leaf too big. Honestly, is really what it looks like. Like the leaf is just gigantic, and I really don't think it should.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's just this giant fucking.
But
it
like
just
that's
looks
always
so-
been there, Tim. Like they have a giant leaf on their jersey now. They've literally always had a giant leaf on their jersey. It's their name. They're like you being like the Detroit Red Wings have a giant Red Wing and being like, yo, that's stupid. It's like it's literally their thing.
But it just looks silly on this one. I don't know what it is.
I'm telling you, it's because the guy in the picture is like the bottom of that jersey is so triangle shaped. Like it literally looks like it comes to like a point at his neck. Like he looks like he's wearing a tarp. Because like, do you see how stiff that thing is in the picture at the bottom?
Yeah. They starched the hell
that's
out
my-
of his jersey.
So like that's why it looks so strange. It looks so stiff. I think in like an actual setting, it's gonna look fine. Like on the ice, I think it's gonna look fine. I'm just thankful they didn't do like the barber pole thing again, because like as cool and as classic as the Maple Leaf barber pole is, it's like we should leave that in like 1919, you know?
I just have a personal hang up with the arms, and I know that's a me thing, so I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that it's an ugly jersey. I just personally don't like arm stripes that go up and around, you know?
Yeah, because the arm stripes are fucking ugly.
I really don't think it's that ugly of a jersey, but the reason I put it so low is because that particular style.
Well, no, the
to
arms
me
look
is
stupid.
just like
The arms look stupid.
I don't know. It's just the like ugh. I just don't like it. I don't know. I don't like the connecting stripes all the way up and around. I've never been a fan of that though. You know, I've always kind of been like, eh.
See, but you like the Jets logo that has that, because that's that logo that you love so much. Is the Jets
Rob's
jersey
got a
that
lot
literally
of-
looks like this? The Jets
Well,
jersey.
I
literally is
said
the
I
dead
like
ringer
I
for
said I
this.
like the logo, not the arms.
But I mean,
Rob has a lot of conflicting opinions. He doesn't like the stripes on the Rangers jersey on any other jersey. He doesn't like the plainness of any other jersey other than the Rangers one.
I don't, because I think the logo is unique enough that you don't necessarily need that.
You like the logo so much that if we smothered it in dog shit, you'd wear it.
It's a cool logo. I think it's a unique enough logo that your eyes are going to be focused on that rather than a lack of anything else.
yeah, but the logo on the Rangers is so small that it's like it gets swallowed up in an ocean of blue. It's like, oh,
Like,
just sitting there.
I'll tell you this: if they had that jersey with the lettering, that would be horrific because the lettering is so boring, or not boring, but the lettering isn't eye-catching enough that you need the rest of the jersey to kind of carry it a little bit. But that logo is so different that you're like, okay, like they can get away with this, at least in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, I don't hate the Maple Leafs jersey. Like, I put it in bad, not awful. I just, and I know that's a personal hang up, so I'm not gonna like judge the Leafs too much on that front. Who haven't we hit yet? We'll go to
The Lightning.
We still need to talk about the Whalers. I mean, do we need to talk about the Whalers? It's a Whalers
Not
jersey.
really.
Like,
It's their
it's a
WHA
Whalers
jersey, and like it's just again
Just
like
look- Dope. It's dope.
my issue with the Oilers thing is it's like your history is so rooted in the Wayne Gretzky era, like him winning you 4 Stanley Cups and breaking all the records in Edmonton, and it's like, so we're gonna honor him, or not even honor him, we're gonna throw it back to the 1978-79 season, which to be fair is obviously Wayne Gretzky's first professional hockey season, whatever, and they lose in the Avco Cup final, but like with a team like this, like Rob, you said you wanted to see them throw back to that, oil
the
drop,
oil
with the
drop
gear,
jersey,
which is like
Yeah,
the
the
Todd
oil
McFarlane
drop is
jersey.
fire. Oil drop
It's
is fire.
with the right colors, it can be okay, but like that original colorway was disgusting. Like navy blue and silver was just
Because
not
it
for me.
actually looked like you dipped the jersey in oil and it was gross.
Well, the
Yeah,
biggest issue
no,
was it
the
was just
color
so
wasn't
boring.
color. No one's gonna care about the color, but I like that logo. I thought it was different. It was cool.
Yeah, I don't think we really need to talk about the Oilers. I mean,
Well,
Can we just?
what I'll say about the Oilers is if you didn't tell me that was a throwback, I wouldn't know, and that's why I don't like it. I can't tell that this is supposed to be different. I would have been like, oh, they have a new away jersey. Like,
fair.
Actually, you know what? I might have to re-rank that Flyers one. I just looked at it again and I thought about something. All I could think of is those fat, disgusting Flyer fans with their man titties hanging out of it. And like the way that those arms work, it's just like not gonna look right.
I just pictured Gritty in it, and I was like, oh,
Bro, well, like look at the way that like those arms, like that like that curve in them, like right at where like that fat and slobbery man titty would come out.
see, again, this is why I didn't put it in bad, is because like the Flyers are so classic, and it stays so close to like what works for them that like it can't. It's really just not bad, but like at the same time, I'm not a fan of this design of Flyer jerseys. I never have been. Like the Eric Lindros era of Flyer jerseys, I think are really stupid looking.
We
Like
all
they're just
put in
very,
man.
they're all like
Yeah, it's
blocky
like,
and
eh.
weird. I mean, like I really like their originals, the ones they wear now, like the Bobby Clark era ones. I think they're just so clean and classic and like
yeah, those are good.
bright.
I like those.
But like this, they took like that bright orange and stuck it on this jersey with with the darker orange as a stripe, and like, it's
It's
okay.
again to me the arms just aren't great, and I
It's
think
a weird
like,
pattern.
I think
Like,
the
it's just
logo's a little bit too high too. Like it's very high up on the chest, or at least it looks like that from that picture.
Yeah, the guy also might just be barrel chested. What we're learning is like that the NHL doesn't know how to use models correctly to show off the jersey because like some of these look like honestly even the Blackhawks one it looks like it's 3 sizes too big for the guy in it.
Yeah,
Like,
it kind of looks like
did they like not ask the models what size? Did they just all bring extra larges and throw them on whoever they could find,
Why did they just put it on a hanger at this point? Like if you want it to look flat, why don't you just put it on a
or
hanger?
just lay it down on like a table? Like literally
Yeah.
anything.
Just like hang it up, fucking put a nail in the wall, hang it.
Hang it in a jersey like in a locker room. Like
Put it in a shadow box, like on the back of a chair.
But like I understand they wanted to put it on a person, but like some of the way that these pictures were taken just don't do the jersey justice, and a lot of them you really can't see anything on these jerseys. Like a lot of like the Nordique one, the reveal picture, like half the jersey's cut off. Like you can only see the front and not
Can't
his
see the
arms.
yeah.
But
Ooh, my tea is probably perfect.
So why did the Predators just basically take their home jersey and then put a white stripe on the top instead of
'Cause-
like actually trying something?
I don't know.
because
I
they were
didn't-
trying to, I don't know.
Like, why didn't they go with like that fucking that really like weird like sketchbook looking saber?
The saber
Oh, 'cause
tooth
everybody
that
hates
looked
that
at you.
But like, why didn't they do it?
Because everybody hates that thing. That thing is why that's so ugly. It's still ugly. Like it doesn't reach the level of Blasty where it's so bad it's good. It's just bad.
There are a couple different iterations of it though that they could have done, like
Well,
the saber tooth.
Specifically, the one I'm thinking of.
The
I don't know if you're
2005
thinking
one
of
is
the
that
same
it?
one. Maybe I don't know. The one with the yellow eyes. That thing
That's
was
the shitty
awful.
one. The 2005 one is a sick one when they had the blue jersey.
But like this is realistically just a blue jersey that they used to wear but yellow. Like it's the
Mhm.
colorway now for their old jersey, and I think that's why I put it in. Isn't it in bad on mine?
You
No,
have
I
it
threw
in.
I threw it in
awful.
awful.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's just so unimaginative, and like I hate that white stripe on the arm. If it was blue, it probably would have been fire.
I
don't mind the stripe.
again, the reason that I don't like this one again is because if you put this in front of me and told me, "Hey, the Predators came out with a new home jersey," I'd be like, "Oh, okay." You know, like a lot of these you can clearly tell, like, "Oh, hey, here's the Blackhawks throwback logo," or like, "Oh, hey, the Lightning throwback logo to their cup win." But it's like, "Oh, hey, here's a Predators jersey that, like, if you told me this was just what they wear now, I'd be like, oh, okay."
Can you
Like,
do that Lightning one real quick? Because you said like you can like they throw back to the Stanley Cup win. Why did they make it blue? I know they wanted to use their new team's colors, but like that jersey had blue on it.
instead
They
of
could have
like,
just left it black.
yeah, I think they kind of screwed the
And
pooch
like
on
with how
that.
many times Tampa Bay has dropped the ball with a black jersey, you think they'd want to get it right finally. And instead, the one opportunity they have to get it right with a black jersey, they make it blue.
And maybe it's just the picture, but that blue doesn't really look like it even matches their current blue.
Lightning bolt's also ugly.
Yeah, it's got like that weird like rounded edges to it. Like it's not like jagged like a lightning bolt you would expect it to be. So it's funny because defending the Maple Leafs with the big white stripe, I think the white stripe on this one is dumb because it looks like a cuff, like because it lines up perfectly with the cuff on the arms. It literally just looks like I don't know, the white band on the bottom between the arms and the bottom of the jersey just doesn't look good to me. I'm just curious what the whole uniform is gonna look like. Is it gonna be like all blue, or do you think there's gonna be some black in it? Like,
I put it in good, because I do think, I'm the odd man out here. I like that logo. It's different. I think the one that they use now is clean, but it's a little minimalist for me. I like this kind of like more different, kind of a little bit
honestly,
more involved. But I can
like
see what you're saying. It literally does kind of just look like, almost like he's wearing an undershirt, like he's wearing a white undershirt and like a crop top, you know?
like I just don't understand why they with dropping the ball with your blackout jerseys 3 times in a row, why you wouldn't just take this opportunity to hit it out of the ballpark and work with a black jersey looks good on the ice, you know?
Oh my God, I don't even. Whoever designed those blackout jerseys should be fired out of a cannon.
But like I
Alright,
just
so that
I don't know.
there's still a few important ones that we need to touch on, like that St. Louis one.
Okay.
I think it's faithful and I like it. I'm a fan.
I think it's dope. I think it's clean.
See, I really fuck with it, like personally, but I put it in mad just because I don't like that they took the blues and made it red. Like to me, that's weird
The
because it's
St.
like
Louis
it's the St. Louis
Blues
Blues,
red jersey.
and you made them red. Like I liked the
The St.
throwback that they
Louis
wore this year with
Reds.
the red bottom. You know what I'm talking? Like the Brett Hall era jerseys and the Gretzky era jerseys with like the red. Like it's honestly just the inverse of these. Like
Yeah.
they're blue with the red bottom.
Hmm.
I think those are so fire, and I think these are so fire too. But just in terms of like connecting it to the franchise, I just don't like it. It's like the Blue Jackets. Okay, yeah, you want to make them red, whatever. Blue is in their name, but like Blue Jacket is more of like a historical reference for them. Like where I feel like you call it the Blues, yeah, it's a music reference because St. Louis Blues, but like people associate it so heavily with that royal blue color or like that old baby blue color that like I
People who
think they
don't watch hockey are gonna be like the St. Louis Blues
wear
red,
red. Yeah.
thinking.
Yo, you know what would have been fire though? If they would have just taken the blue throwback and put it in the baby, like the baby blue and yellow.
Yes, that would have
Ooh,
been dope.
that would have been hard. With like a red bottom, hard. That would have been so fire. I
Or
would have bought
honestly,
one
if they
instantly.
went for like an old timey look and they went with like a brown,
Mm, maybe. I mean, they could have thrown back to like the St. Louis Eagles or whatever that team that
I'm
used to be
saying
there
like
was.
because gold, brown, blue, and white like that looks very good too.
That's true.
Like with the brown in there.
So
Oh, wait.
There's also the Capitals jersey.
yeah, I was just gonna say I agree with you guys in terms of like how it actually looks. Like it's actually like a fire ass jersey, but like that's the reason I put it in meh. Which just to me, it's like they pushed it too far out of the box where it doesn't make any sense now. It's like, all right, how about we don't? That'd be like the
Um,
Rangers being red.
That makes sense though.
Before we go to the Capitals, let's just kind of get two of the other ones that are like a little bit more easy out of the way. I mean, the Senators, like they are this year, their primary home jerseys are going back to that flat 2D look. So this is just kind of just like continuation of that,
It's fire though. I think it's clean.
Yeah, I like
I
it.
like the Senators one.
I like
Yeah.
it. There's just not a lot to talk about considering like they're already like, hey, we're going back, and it's like, oh, you're just
See-
going back again.
Yeah, they're just going all the way back, which I appreciate. The thing that's funny is like the Senators can't claim the history of the original Ottawa Senators, which won those Stanley Cups in the Silver Seven era.
Yeah.
So they can't wear any of those uniforms.
They
Or
don't
they can't use
have-
any of
yeah.
the iconography of that uniform. I mean, they have in the past, obviously, with the Heritage Classic and the black with the O and everything. But I don't know. I think like because I think their home jerseys are going to be black now, right? They went to like the black with the
Yeah.
gold and everything. So I think this being an invert of that, which is already itself a throwback, is just like a slam dunk. Like if they would have messed that up, I would have been like, like how did you screw this up? Like it's not even like they had to correspond with like they literally had to could build this whole concept from the ground up in Ottawa because they were already redesigning the whole look, you know?
Right.
So it
Right.
was so easy just to like attach this to it and keep going with it. So like they didn't have to like roll it into like the team's like image already, right? Like a lot of these other teams are trying to like get these old designs to work with the current team's colors, whereas this they were just like we're throwing out the current team colors going back, so like it doesn't even matter. And I think that's super cool. I also like the
Uh,
numbers. I think like the numbers between the stripe on the arm is really unique, and I think it
that's
looks
a
really
nice
good.
touch. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. I like that too.
So they're pretty simple. I mean, we're gonna, I would say that the
Do we have to talk about the
Penguins,
Whalers?
the Whalers are simple. The Penguins jersey, it's literally just the jersey they wore when Lemieux was on the
And
team.
none of us are really that hot on the Penguins one, I don't think.
I
I
put it
think
Yeah,
in.
it's
I
okay.
put it in
you
good
put it
just
in good.
because like it's just the Penguins jersey. Like there's
Yeah, and I can
nothing.
agree with your sense. I guess this is why we laid out our like why how we interpreted this at the beginning because to your argument like yeah, I would agree it is just a good Penguins jersey and it's like it's good, but I personally hate it so much that like it's only meh because visually I think it's just so stupid. I hate this era of Penguins jerseys with like they went to like do you remember when they changed from the triangle shaped penguin, like the original penguin, to that other triangle penguin that was like just the top half, like just the head?
Yeah.
I hate that. I hate that so much. It screams like mid to late 1990s so bad, but not in a good way. Like in like the worst way, and this is a jersey that reminds me of it. I think they just got it doesn't scream Pittsburgh to me. It doesn't look like, as much as it says Pittsburgh on it. When I think of the Penguins, I think of like, you know, black and gold and like the Penguin logo, like the actual logo.
Yeah.
And I know they've done the 70s ones already with the dark blue and the baby blue, so like they had to do something else. And they're wearing the Mario Lemieux era jerseys now. So like they really don't have a lot of options, but like I guess this is the best of the worst options they had, so I only put it in meh.
Yeah, I mean they've done the logo that has the penguin with the scarf and the hockey
Hmm.
stick. They've done the baby blues. I mean, to me, it's a decent jersey. That's why I put it in good. I will say again, the only team in my opinion that can consistently rock the lettering is New York Rangers. Every other team that's tried it, never been a huge fan of it. It's boring because it's like, oh wow, it's your Mario Lemieux jerseys. Great, you, congrats.
Yeah.
Um, and I know that we also talked about the Devils jersey. Like again, it's just every time the Devils have a throwback of any kind of like. Remember when we had green in the logo?
You
Yeah,
know, and like they have three teams they can pull from. They have the Colorado Rockies, the New Jersey Devils, and the Kansas City Chiefs. All three organizations,
the Scouts.
the Kansas City Scouts, yeah, not the Chiefs. The Chiefs are the football team. But they get roped in like these three organizations are all part of their heritage. So like why would like imagine like this design, right, with the devil logo, but they did it in like because this is the pattern on this is like the Kansas City Scouts jerseys, like the old and like the Rocky one. Imagine they just used that colorway with like the red and like the blue.
Red, blue, and the yellow.
Yeah, but maybe not as much of the yellow.
The accent the yellow a little bit. You mean?
Yeah, like use like those white stripes could be yellow. I think it'd be kind of fire, be kind of fresh, you know?
I mean, I put it in good because I appreciate them using the green as opposed to going with a red base jersey. But again, it's not like it's blowing my mind. Like I get it when you had green accents on your jersey. Everyone knows at this point.
You had a Christmas tree jersey, we get it, but like please do something else.
I think if they would have done a jersey with like the Scouts or the Rockies, like maybe not the Rockies because I mean,
Colorado exists,
but do
yeah.
like the Scouts, like that would have been dope. Like even if you want to do a Devils logo with Scouts colors or
Well, that's what
something
I'm
like that.
suggesting. Like it would have just been this like logo, but with like the blue and gold and red instead of like the green and red. You know?
At least then it would have been different. Where it's like,
Hmm.
hey, 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 remember the green? Yeah, yeah, no, I get it. Remember Brodeur work? Yeah, I know, I get it.
We get it. You wore green.
um, so I think we've actually okay. The only ones we haven't talked about yet are the Capitals, the Sabers, and the Knights. I
Knights.
think. Oh, and the Panthers. Capitals, Sabres, Knights, and Panthers. So we'll just start from the top. Tim, I know you want to talk about the Capitals. What do you got?
I like Capitals. I think the Eagles dope. I like that 45-degree angle coming off the bottom. That's like at the same angle as the eagle. It looks clean. They went with like that same kind of design as the uh, Blues jerseys.
I think what's cool with this one is like they took like that jersey from like the early Ovechkin era and like the Peter Bondra era, like that with that. Remember that awful like gold color they wore? Like
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
these were those awful gold color jerseys, and I think they by putting them in like the current colorway, it just made it so much nicer. Like these jerseys are so good to me. I think
those
they're so
white, blue,
cool.
and black ones.
Yeah, those things were terrible.
Yeah,
So that
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
no, I just think they really corrected that mistake with like that color by transposing it into like the current color.
Yeah, I mean, I'm again, maybe they could have tried a different color other than red, but I think, the red looks good. I think they kind of saw it as like we know what works, so we're not gonna mess with it too much.
I mean, they could have done the navy blue of the original jerseys with like red accents, but I think the issue would have been it would have looked too much like the St. Louis Blues then with the red bottom, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
The red bottoms.
and like the Weagle jersey, like the Weagle logo, like they touched it up a little bit. It looks pretty good. And I think it's definitely unique to have the name of the team, Capitals in the bottom stripe. I mean, that's something no other team has really done. I mean, obviously, outside we're going to talk about the Sabres, who they have Buffalo in their stripe. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I would I have liked to see them maybe take a shot at a different color other than red as a base, sure. But I mean, I think it's clean, it's good. I like it. I can't complain too much,
Yeah.
So we'll go to Buffalo, which I know Steve, you had some opinions on.
Yeah. I mean, so the Buffalo thing really is just because I just don't like the logo, really. I like the color. I like the old I like the old design. I like the colors. I like everything else. I just wish they would have went with like the actual bull logo that they used to use, or the buffalo logo that they used to use, which was silver instead of like that like the two sabers, like the swords. Like I don't know. I think that works as a really cool shoulder patch. I don't think it's like an actual like overall like design. It's like strong enough to carry the jersey.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's clean. The jersey itself is really, really nice. I do kind of agree that it's weird that they threw back to a Dominic Hasek style jersey and didn't use the Dominic Hasek logo. Um, like I would have liked to have seen them brought back the bull, not the Buffa Slug. That thing was just weird. I don't know what the hell that was all about, but like the Dominic Hasek bull, that would have been cool. For sure. Uh, I think it's clean. I do like the uniqueness of having the word buffalo in the bottom stripe. Um, and contrary to some of the other jerseys, I think this one having the 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 stripe on the arm doesn't, it offsets the fact that there's really nothing going on up top for me, so it's not too boring up top. But I do agree that having the actual, the buffalo logo would have been cool. um, Also maybe would have liked to have seen them try something again with the white, red, and black, but I can't complain
I'm
too much.
I'm glad that they didn't go with the white, red, and black, because they just changed that. This is also kind of the thing they're in the same situation the Senators are in, where like the Sabres are changing their entire colorway right now because they went back to the royal blue and gold. So
Hmm.
like, I think that they wanted to just continue moving through this in like the same direction with the color to really like get people behind it. But like you said, like that logo, I just can't get behind the logo. But the colors and everything are fire. Everything else is good.
Yeah, the logo's kind of a miss. I agree on that. Um, uh,
Panthers.
yes. So I have them in meh. Tim, you have the Panthers in beautiful. Steve, you have the Panthers in uh, Where do you have the Panthers? Where?
Beautiful.
Yes. So okay. So I'm the odd man out here. I don't hate this jersey either. I think actually now that I'm looking at it, I might actually bump it up into the good category. Now that I'm really taking like a hard look at it, um, I would actually probably would do that. I'd probably bump it up into the good category because it's nice. It's got that dark blue. Um, I think the striping at the bottom is good. It's a little bit busy, but it's good. Um, because they kind of matched it to the shoulder pads up top. I kind of wish they would have gone back to the one with the broken hockey stick, just because I think that's hilarious. I think it was just like a weird like little detail, like why would you have the Panther holding a broken hockey stick? But um, yeah, I mean I like them. I think, like I said, now that I'm looking at it, I would bump it up into good. It's clean. It's nice. Throwback to when it's okay. It's way better than the jersey they have now because I hate the logo because it looks like a soccer team logo and I can't get over that. And like every time I see that jersey, it's that mental block where I'm like, this should be like Florida FC right now, you know?
What I like about this is like it's just like it's a
It's the Power
classic.
Rangers logo.
It's the Florida Panthers like at like their most classic. Like this is what they wore when they played in the Stanley Cup final. Like this is what Pavel Bure used to wear. Like to me, it's just this is what the team should look like and should still look like.
I
I
agree.
think their new jerseys are terrible. Um, so like it's just so clean to
I
me.
don't I don't hate the new logo, and like after it grew on me. I didn't like it at first. I thought it looked like the Power Rangers logo, but like it's grown on me since.
That's fair. I mean, the whole uniform isn't bad. I just don't like their change in their current uniform from their old ones to the new ones isn't a bad thing. I just really like these because I really like the pointed arms, like the shoulders come down to like a point in like the middle of the arms, and there's just something very like I don't know. It looks really good and like just the colors are so good. And I wish they would use this blue more than they do now. Like they use a lot of like the red and that gold color that I don't particularly like.
I mean, their current jerseys are awful. Like, I hate
Yeah,
them. I
they should just go
hate
back to
them.
these full time, honestly.
I hate the logo. I hate the jersey. Every time again, like I said, Florida FC. That's all I think when I see them, and it's not hockey to me. And it's just this logo is dope. I saw no reason to change from that logo. To be honest with you.
I'm glad they didn't put the broken hockey stick in it because it's just so like you said, it's just so bizarre. Like why would it be eating a hockey stick? Like what? Like the shark makes sense, right? Like the shark is eating the other team's hockey stick. Like he's biting the other team's stick. It's like, oh, it's a shark. Yeah, he's taking a bite out of something. Like that's what they do. But like you have a panther lunging at you with a broken hockey stick. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense because it's like, okay, one, is he holding the hockey stick? Like what's happening? And two, like what? Why is he lunging at me with a hockey stick?
Well, you
So
see, that's why it would have been cool if he was like holding the hockey stick and like the hockey stick was like holding him back or something, maybe like he
like
was
it was in his
jumping onto
hands
it.
and it wasn't broken. Yeah. Like if he was
Yeah,
lunging at you with the hockey stick, it would be like, oh, okay, this makes sense. He's carrying a stick. But in that, it's like, why did he break the stick? Like, what's happening? Like, what is going on with this logo?
or like like you think of like in an old like in some movie where like the caveman has like the fucking spear in his hand and like the
Hmm.
like the fucking tiger's like trying to bite it and it's like he's like pushing it back with just the stick, maybe something like that.
Yeah.
Do you guys
It's
think it
like
would have
what
been funny if the Sharks logo, instead of having the old timey hockey stick, they had him eating like a Bauer Nexus or something?
That'd be kind of cool. I mean, like, that'd be just like a really interesting.
imagine how much you have to pay for that
Yeah,
as the
bro.
organization.
Just to Bauer, just so you can have their name
The
on the
shark eating a
jersey.
Bauer Nexus or
But
something.
honestly, I think my favorite part about that Florida jersey is everything but the logo. Not that the logo isn't cool, but I love the stripe work on it
Oh, the
and
stripe
the
work
arms
is
and
so
everything
good. Yeah, bro,
and the
it's so
shoulders.
good.
Literally, this is one of the few jerseys that they've made that all these made that it's a new design with an actual hockey jersey shoulders.
See, the thing that's cool is like it's a new design, but like on an old template that I really like, and
Yeah,
it's one
exactly.
of the
The
it's one of
template.
the only teams that could really pull off that like V-shaped, like the 45-degree angling on the arms, right? I appreciate that they didn't go for like a straight cuff on the arm because it doesn't look because we can see like we talked about it before, like it looks weird with just like a straight cuff like that. So I appreciate that like the lines go vertically like towards the elbows, and then like but that the line on the bottom is like completely like straight. They didn't go for like a whole like 45 like V-shaped kind of thing. They just meant let those go in a point to like simulate the shoulder piece, and then just were like everything else is straight. So I think
Right.
like that's really good. And like because it was all V-shaped, it would have been really, really like it would have just been too much, you know? Like too many lines going too many places. Like this, it's just very clean. Like three stripes, done. Move on. You know?
Yeah. Um, yeah. I personally would like to see them go back to this full time. I think. Um, so
And
last, but well, I would say last but not least, but no, I hate this jersey. It's ugly and it's gross. The Golden Knights.
It's just boring.
I think it could look really cool on the ice in uniform if they do it right.
See,
I haven't seen it.
my biggest fear is they're gonna put black pants on it, because so then it's just gonna go like it's gonna go
Yeah,
from
no,
red into like heavy black in the middle, you know?
that would look ugly because then it would look like just this weird red top with like it looked like a honestly it looked like a kitchen plate, like a kitchen mat.
It would like you know what it would really do? You remember like the a long time ago the Snapchat filter that would like take your nose out so it was just your eyes and your mouth
Yeah.
and you had like a squished face? That's essentially what it's going to do to these people's bodies, and it's just going to be like this big mesh of black in the middle, like by their hands and their like waist, that like they're just going to essentially look like a really bright red like upper torso and a set of legs, you know, and not like an actual like. Obviously, it's not going to be like that bad, but like overall, like the design is just doesn't look good. There's just way too much black concentrated in like that one spot on the jersey. But then again, I don't really like the Golden Knights regular jerseys to begin with. So like these are an improvement, I guess, but they're still not good.
I don't like the V, and I know that's again that's a personal thing for me, but I don't like it. It doesn't look
I don't
good.
like that the V is inverted on the arms. It goes down to a point towards their crotch, right? Like it points down, and then the ones on the arms go up towards their shoulders. I don't like that there's no um I don't like that it makes like a wave pattern on it. I think it'd be cooler if they all went in like a similar direction, you know, like they all met in the same point and then created like that spiky shape on them. But I don't know. This one's just one where like they could have done so much, and especially with a new team, and they just didn't.
Well, I mean, it's like their alternate jerseys. They're like, we have alternates now, but it's just your home jersey in gold. Like for a
But
team that lives in a city of risk, they seem so terrified. And granted, look, they're only what 4 years old at this point, so yeah, okay. Obviously, they haven't had a lot of time to come up with a heritage. But why even put out an alternate jersey if you're not going to go big? You're in Vegas. Go big. Go home.
well,
Like
that's it. Like it's none of what they do screams Las Vegas to me because it's not flashy enough. Like they were like, "Oh, we have white gloves on our away uniforms." Like that's flashy, and it's like, "No, you just look like a bunch of benders." Like there's a
The
reason I
white
retired.
gold, the white gold looks cool when they came out.
They're
The
okay. They're
white,
not
gold,
bad.
and red when they came in the league, that white and gold and red looked pretty fly.
It
I
looks
remember,
good on their away jerseys. I just think like, but like their home jerseys are so like this is the thing. Like they have that like industrial silver color, like that gray color,
yeah,
and it's like, how is this Las Vegas? Isn't Las Vegas like flashy and bright and colorful and like
and then they
you
were
it
know?
like,
should have been
"Oh,
like
here's an alternate. It's gold now." It's like we didn't change anything else.
Well, they should have made it green, color of money, yo. Las Vegas has so much money flowing
it
through
should
it.
have been black, red, and green.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely missed the
Why?
ball. I mean, on their alternates as well as these throwbacks, or not. Well, they're throwing it back to the
Yeah, what team is it? It's like an IHL
Raiders.
team, isn't it?
Maybe it's called the Raiders. Let's see.
Raiders of the Lost Ark makes sense.
The Golden Knights pay
I could
homage
see Indiana Jones wearing
to
this.
the Las Vegas Thunder of the IHL.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm looking at it too. Okay.
Yeah, not great. Also, they should have told the model wearing the jersey not to wear a turtleneck because that just makes it even look even more ridiculous. But like,
They didn't put any of these models in Jersey. Like this article I'm looking at, like they all just look so big. Like, why do these jerseys look like they're swimming on all these people? Whatever.
So, what's your? We'll end on this. What's your favorite? We'll do favorites and least favorite. So, what's your favorite jersey out of all these?
Hmm.
Because mine's probably. I'm not gonna count the Whalers because it's cheating, in my opinion. I mean, the Whalers jerseys. If you screw up a Whalers jersey, you should be excommunicated from hockey. So I'm
I
not
think
gonna
a
count
more
those.
interesting question is which would you buy?
Well,
So we can do our favorites and which ones we'd buy.
we'll do favorites, which ones we'd buy, and then the least favorite. I mean, my favorite's the LA Kings. I think they knocked it out of the ballpark with that one. That to me is an absolutely gorgeous jersey.
My favorite, honestly, my favorite really might be the Panthers one. I just think it's so clean. And like I love the colors so much, like that navy blue and that bright red, like it just looks so good.
Okay, we have one vote for LA, one vote for Florida. Tim.
My favorite one is probably that Capitals one.
It's clean. It's definitely
I
clean.
really
yo.
like that one.
It's
I
really
like
good
that one. I like that they did the eagle right, but I don't like that the C is actually on the opposite side of the chest. What the
because
fuck?
of it's because of the stitching. It's the same thing with the
Yeah,
Red
I
Wings and the
know.
Coyotes.
I just no, the Coyotes are on the right side
It used to be
or
on
the
the left
proper
because
side.
it used to be
Yeah,
on the left, on the right side because of they had the stitching on the jersey came up too high, so they couldn't stitch the letter into the spot they wanted it on, so they had to change it.
I think the Wings are the only active team whose letters on the opposite side, right?
On their regular jerseys, yeah, and
Yeah.
it's just because of the stitching on the wing. It comes up too high.
Ones that I buy, besides
okay,
the LA
actually, I'm
Kings
gonna
jersey.
change that because I actually don't like that C is on the opposite side.
This
I
is
just realized
bullshit.
that. My favorite is probably the Blackhawk one.
Yeah.
Fair. It's a good choice.
Again, ones that I'd buy. Again, I'm not counting a Whalers jersey because I do want a Whalers jersey, but it's cheating. I'd
Bro,
buy.
get a Ronnie franchise one.
I'd buy the Kings.
Ron Wilder franchise jersey,
Yeah.
Whalers jersey.
I'd buy the Kings. I wouldn't buy the Abs one because I feel like if I'm gonna buy a Northeast jersey, I'm gonna buy a Northeast jersey. It's good, but
Yeah.
I don't think I'd buy it. I buy the Kings. Maybe buy the Blackhawks. I'd buy that Anaheim Ducks one because that's fire. Calgary.
No, if you had to buy one, which one are you buying?
I think which. Well, I mean, okay, so
Yeah.
I'm assuming you said besides the Kings, right? So besides your favorite one.
I mean, no, it can be your favorite one because, like, the way that I consider it is, if it's not if it's not my favorite team, I'm probably not going to get multiple jerseys for them. So, if I were to buy a jersey for a team, it would be one of the only jerseys I bought for them, if that makes sense.
Right. Yeah.
So that's why I'm saying, like, which of these would you buy as your teams for that jersey, or
Oh, so
that your
you
jersey
want-
for that team?
So like your one jersey for that team, okay?
Right. Yeah.
If that makes sense, because like I mean, think about it. Like, how many jerseys do you buy? If you were gonna buy a jersey, one of these jerseys, it would have to be like it would be like a special thing, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, like I'm not gonna go out of my way to buy like multiple Montreal Canadiens jerseys, you know?
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Or if like the Anaheim Ducks is your favorite one, you're not gonna get multiple Anaheim Ducks jerseys. Like, we're not Ducks fans.
It
Right.
honestly, for me, even though I didn't put it in beautiful, I'm not sure. It's a pretty tight contest between wanting to buy a Kings jersey and buying that Ducks jersey. I'm torn between those two.
Bro, Wild Wings fire.
It really is. If I had to pick, like, for some reason, gun to my head, like if Gary Bettman was threatening to shoot me if I didn't pick, I'd probably pick the Kings jersey. But the Wild Wing jersey is a very, very close second.
Now, what do you understand what I was saying though? So like, you wouldn't buy a different Kings jersey over that one?
No, because I don't. I mean, the Kings jerseys now are okay. I don't really like
I mean,
them all that
like
much.
even any Kings jersey, like it doesn't have to be the new one. But I'm saying like if you were gonna buy like an old like Kings jersey, you wouldn't buy like a different one from some point.
I like the logo and the look of this jersey with the pop of the purple. Because the classic black version of this jersey was nice, but I like this jersey design with the pop of the purple and gold. So I think if I had to buy any Kings jersey ever, it would be this one. you know?
That's fair.
Okay.
So I already said my. I think if I had to buy one, definitely the Bruins. Like the more I think about it, the more I don't want to get like a black Bruins jersey. The more I'm like, this would be like my, like this would be my one Bruin jersey because it's
You wouldn't buy
gold.
that Coyotes one though, or something.
I mean, I would, but like I don't know. Like
If you're gonna buy a Coyotes jersey, you could buy the Kachina.
yeah, I think I'd rather have like the regular Kachina, like the black one, because that one's fresh. I like the shoulders on it a lot. But like if I was like gun to my
I
head,
like that
had to
one
pick
too.
like one jersey for the team, it would definitely be this Bruins jersey. Because like a lot of these other teams, I'd probably want other jerseys representative of that team. This is one of the way I'm looking at it, right? Like the LA Kings, yeah, I like the purple and gold, but I'd rather get an original purple and gold one, like the Marcel Dion ones, than this one, as much as I like it.
I also like the Crown.
Yeah, the crown is just so good.
Yeah.
So, and like the Blackhawks, like so to just to point out like the two that you said were your favorites, like the Blackhawks, I'd rather have like the black and white one from the Winter Class a
I
couple
agree.
years ago. So like that's why I wouldn't buy this one over that other Blackhawk. Like given the opportunity to have another Blackhawks choice, you know?
No, 100% agree.
Whereas like
I'm
with
with you.
this Bruins one listed with all my choices, it's like, oh, do I want all black or gold? And it's like I'd rather go with the yellow because it's interesting. It's different enough from the rest of the Bruins stuff that people will be like, oh, that's okay, that's interesting, but also classic enough where like it's not going to look super out of place. Where you're going to look at it and be like, okay, it's the Boston Bruins. Whereas I feel like some of these other ones you look at and you're like, wait, what? Like the Columbus Blue Jackets is a perfect example. I would never get one of these because people would look at you and be like, what team is that? Like, what sport even is that? You know? Whereas like this, it's still Boston Bruins, and like if it was the only Bruins jersey I ever owned, I'd rock it. It'd be cool. Get number 4 on it, easy.
So what about you, Tim?
Um, if I had to buy one, hmm, hmm. You see, I'd probably buy that Flames one, honestly.
Blasty? Yeah, I was thinking about it to be honest with
See,
you. But
Just
I really also do like their
I like
current
the red
home
ones.
jerseys, their
I like the
throwbacks.
old ones, like the old red
you see,
ones.
I don't fuck like you guys know. I don't fuck with red like that.
Yeah. No, it's totally fair. It's all personal opinion. Like, dude, you could rock the shit out of Blasty though. That'd be fire.
That's the thing. Like I like the look of. I think Blasted looks pretty cool, but I also I deadass might buy the Jets one.
Ugh, I'm not
See,
your friend
like
anymore.
again, like if I
No,
was,
actually, I'm lying about everything. I would buy the Canadians one.
Because
I
it's
lie on
different,
everything.
right? It's like different.
I like that blue. I love that Canadians blue because honestly, the Canadians jersey it's so fucking red.
I love how
It's
red it
so
is
red.
though. It's even, you know what's funny? I don't know if you guys ever noticed this, but like, if you ever noticed when like our teams when they go up to Montreal to play, like everything looks a lot redder. Like there's something about the Bell Center that looks very, very red.
Hmm.
Like even like the Rangers pants when they go into the Bell Center like glow red. I don't know what it is, but I know what you're saying, Tim. Like I agree. Like the Canadians in their red only because they only ever wear it in that context of the at the Bell Center looks so red on TV for some reason, but like in person it doesn't look that red. So I don't know, but I agree. Like that blue is so nice. It's just a nice like royal enough blue that it's not like in your face, you know?
Yeah, there's also enough other red jerseys out there that I like better that I
Yeah,
would wear over Canadians one.
yeah, I agree.
So I'd probably pick that one.
The nice thing about it too is when people see you wearing it, they're gonna know that's the reverse retro. You know, if you bought a quote unquote throwback Canadian jersey, people might just be like, "Oh, he's wearing a Habs jersey," you know.
He
But
bought a
people,
new one and put an old number on it.
yeah, people are gonna look at that and be like, "Oh, okay, I know where that's from," you know.
But like this, they look at it and it's like, oh, this is only the only time they've worn blue. And the only reason I didn't pick this Canadians one, despite how much I actually really like it, was because if I had my choice, I would get the Globe one, the one they wore in the Winter Classic a couple years ago, that white one with the white C and the red H and the blue stripe.
Hmm.
That one to me is my favorite Canadians jersey. I just think it's so different and unique. That like if that was the one I had to have, that's why I wouldn't pick this one. But this one's clean. This one's really nice.
So I guess we'll do two different categories. Which one do you like the least, and which one are you most disappointed in? You know, because it's not
Hmm.
necessarily the same thing, right?
Yeah, so which one would you like throw in the trash heap, and which one are you just like, wow,
All right,
you did
so
this?
I would probably burn that Tampa Bay Lightning one into a crisp, and the Red Wings disappointed me the most. By far, the Red Wings disappointed me the most.
I think my least favorite is probably. I don't even want to pick the Golden Knights because it feels like an easy target. Like, honestly, my least favorite might genuinely be the Dallas Stars. And the one that I'm most disappointed in is, without a question, the Winnipeg Jets.
So the one I'd throw on the trash heap that I think is just the worst is the Red Wings. And like I'm really disappointed in the Red Wings, but I'm more so disgusted by that this is what they came up with than I am disappointed. Whereas I'm more disappointed in the Tampa Bay Lightning having the ability to finally get a black jersey that works and not taking it. Like they had such an easy home run that they didn't take that I'm just really disappointed that they didn't. And I appreciate
Essentially,
they
we
tried to
would
do something
swap, dude.
different. Yeah. I appreciate that like they had the opportunity and they wanted to try something different, but at the same time it's like you've screwed up how many black jerseys now? Like just get a good one and then worry about the rest, you know?
100%.
I mean, they definitely need to atone for their sins with that black ice jersey.
And then they come out with this thing and this thing isn't even good. Like oh, so bad.
Anybody have any final thoughts?
Um I'd like to see the NHL do this again. I'd like to see them try this again in a couple of years and see what teams come up with again, you know?
I would like them to not do retro though, and instead do rebrandings or reskins.
See, that'd be cool. I also think they could do like Color Rush. The Color Rush thing is kind of cool. Like
Yeah.
they're essentially moving in
Or
the direction that the NBA is, where they have like 7 or 8 jerseys per team, which I'm fine with.
I dead just wish that they would fucking would just wear some of those warm up jerseys that they bring out. Like I said, that Sharks one and the NHL. I know you're not listening, but if someone in the NHL is listening, those Sharks jerseys were fire. Do more of that.
I think my favorite pregame. I'm trying to think. Do you remember the Vancouver Canucks Chinese New Year jerseys?
Those were sick.
They were so sick. They should bring those back, yo. Those were so cool.
That's what I'm saying. Bring the warm up jerseys back. Even the cancer ones and the fucking camo ones. Those are cool.
The camo ones are cool. The only thing is like they're all like that one shade of gray.
I'm just saying, like
No, I know
for
what
for
you're
a
saying.
game, like on Veterans Day or something like that, Memorial Day, like they could fucking wear them for like a couple games a year.
I mean, hey, the MLB does it.
Yeah. Um, it's funny, it's really actually kind of funny how these things work out because we were all hanging out playing hockey and I looked at you guys and I said, they really ought to do a thing where they bring back quote unquote ugly jerseys and give them another shot. And a lot of teams did that, A lot of teams bought back jerseys that teams hated when they came out and revamped it and it looked actually really nice. I think it would be fun if they might not do it now because they kind of did it already, but if they hadn't done this, have every team's fans vote on the ugliest jersey they've ever worn, and then like make it a challenge to revamp those. Something like, oh yeah, the Islanders bring back the fisherman logo with the wave pattern at the bottom. The Oilers would probably have to revamp the oil drop logo. The Bruins would have to do the Winnie the Pooh logo again, just as kind of like a little nod to like, hey, we are based in tradition, but like we're not gonna take ourselves so seriously that we're gonna freak out about something like that. I do like the idea. I think that most teams knocked it out of the park. There was only 9 jerseys that I ranked as either bad or awful, which is a pretty high batting average, all things considered. So. I would like to see them do it again. I'd like to see the Islanders actually try to put some effort in this time and not just submit it at 11:59 the day before.
And slightly change the shade of blue.
Yeah. So next episode, whenever it comes out, I mean, depends on how things go in the league. If things start moving and shaking, we'll be up on top of the news. We'll bring you all the latest updates and everything like that. if things don't stay moving and shaking and things are kind of just dead, we're just gonna put out episodes as content is available to us. You know, this is technically an off season, so we're also enjoying a little bit of time off. Kind of depends on how the league goes.
That's really it.
If you guys want us to do this with other things, maybe we rank all teams' home jerseys or the away jerseys or something like that. Let us know down in the comment section. I mean, I've already made a tier list of the home jersey, so that would be an easy one for me to do. But yeah, I mean, if you have any suggestions for ideas for content, otherwise we're just gonna kind of see how things start going, because it's kind of in a gridlock still. So I want to thank you guys for watching, and we will see you guys all again next time.